This is only the worst part.
No, because it'll cut in like we're in the middle of a conversation.
It's like Sports Center.
Yeah, and we're back.
You ever notice like wonder what they're talking about? Stay classy, San Diego. We can't use any of this. That would have been funny though. Hey guys, hey, welcome back to the Foyer. Dave, Nolan, we're excited to be back with you. It's been a good week.
Yeah, sorry about last week not getting one up.
It was Labor Day. We didn't labor.
And me and Michaela had our 2-year anniversary, and so
Praise the Lord.
And
then I turned 30.
Whoop whoop.
30, y'all.
Dave is 30.
It's like, the moment you come out of your 20s, it's like, okay, here's life. It's all over.
You had 2 kids before you turned 30, but I feel like now that you're 30, you are officially a parent.
Officially the older guy.
Like you're not just like Dave with 2 kids, but you're like Dave's a dad.
Yeah, and like with students, like they come to me talking about some of these apps they're using, and I don't know what they're talking about. That's when I feel old. Like I haven't had that until probably this last year.
Yeah.
When I just say, hey,
when Snapchat came out,
Snapchat was like, I kind of knew what that was, and now there's this other stuff within Snapchat and other things. And it's like, what is that?
Yeah. Sarah, haha.
I don't know who Sarah is, but
I think it's got an H because H's are ooh.
Yeah.
Guy. Get lost. Anyway, speaking of social media and new things, tell our friends that are watching kind of what we've been going through as a student ministry, because I feel like that is a great segue to that.
Yeah. So I think I mentioned this a couple of videos ago, but we decided a few months ago to bring in some students and kind of just simply ask them, hey, what do you guys think we should talk about, especially this fall, like kind of this new school year? And so we did that and basically planned out our whole kind of sermon series that's going to last us probably till Christmas. And
what a long series.
Yeah, but it's good.
It is.
And basically just talking about issues that teenagers struggle with. Yes, we kind of understand, but we wanted to know firsthand what they thought would be, the worst ones are really just the things that they struggle with the most. And so obviously dating was one that they brought up.
Yeah.
Every single one of them brought up that, dating, the whole concept of is it okay, is it not okay? And so we felt like, as a staff, hey, let's talk about dating. So,
and boy, are we talking about it.
We're talking about it.
We launched the series on dating, and we are currently like week 4 in the series.
So we had this whole idea. We'll just do 2 weeks on dating,
and then we'll hit other topics,
and then we'll move on. But here we are at week 4.
Still talking about dating
because our students have a lot of questions, and so we felt like we can't just move on until we feel comfortable that they're getting it. So and this is kind of a side note. If you're ever wondering what you should talk about with your students and what you should be teaching on, ask them. I think that's why this has been so effective.
Oh yeah,
and our numbers have been up. And I think it's just because we're talking about something that's so relevant to so many students.
They wouldn't. I don't think a single one of our students would admit it, but they want the answers to this.
They do, and I feel like they're not comfortable enough to really go to us one-on-one. I mean, some of them are, but as a whole, they would rather us just kind of lay it all out for them.
Yeah.
And a lot of it, I think with you and I, kind of we go bouncing back and forth of just how we teach this without coming across kind of legalistic.
Right.
And isn't it funny, like when you say, hey, I don't want to be legalistic here, but most of the time when you say that, you come across as legalistic.
Oh, yes.
I don't want to sound legalistic here, but you need to stop drinking. It's like
like your final answer on Wednesday was, I don't want to be a dad. I don't want to do this, but as your youth pastor, don't date.
I am called to shepherd you. Don't date. And so that's kind of where we are.
Yeah. And
we had to tackle that because we both were 2 guys that we dated in high school. We dated different girls in college before we met our wives. And so it was, it's hard. But I feel like just with that experience that we had, it was almost like, hey, don't do what we did type thing.
Right. I think the answer is, in a nutshell, if you can, I think you don't date. I think that's the greatest way to do it. I think there's an aspect of accountability that you get to achieve when you choose not to date.
Yeah.
I think, and as I was sharing this with the Watertown guys and girls on Sunday night, I think, or last night, was at the end of the day, if you choose to date, you remove yourself from friends. If you're a guy, hanging out with the guys. If you're a girl, you don't get to go get your nails done as much anymore. But with that, it's like a 1-2 punch when you decide to date, because you remove yourself from those friendships, and those friendships give you the very thing that you really need, which is accountability. And I think that at that age of middle school, high school is when you can't really decipher and kind of separate your time enough to say, hey, here's my accountability, here's my time with the guys, and here's my time with my girlfriend. And so when you choose, and they choose to go the route to date somebody, regardless of their intention at the beginning, they quickly segregate themselves from both girlfriends and guy friends, and they lose those friendships. And with losing those friendships and that time with those friends, you also immediately lose that accountability that is so needed in a relationship. Yeah. And so it's that crazy death spiral that I think these students don't necessarily see when they get into dating. Yeah. That they quickly lose the very thing that they need.
Yeah, and I feel like I know both of us, we have students that come to us and want accountability. Right. But I don't think they're ready for it. Yeah. Because the moment that we start, not that we're going to step on their toes and get all up into their stuff, but I mean, that's essentially a part of accountability. If you have a student or somebody that says, I struggle looking at porn, I'm going to say, hey, what does your history look like
hey, give me your phone real quick and let me look at your internet history.
Even though they probably already erased it, but anyway.
Which is ding, ding, ding.
Which is like, there you go. That's another topic. Yeah. But
well, hey, speaking of, I was reading an article earlier. I thought said it really well, and it said that accountability is a lot like rain, and it's that it's about to rain coming in up from Florida. So I thought it's kind of on my brain there. That accountability is a lot like rain. That everybody knows that they need it and that we need rain, but nobody wants to get wet. That's and good. I think it's what you're saying. That's good. There's students will come to us and say, "Hey, keep me." Yeah, write that one down. Write that down. Keep me accountable, but like you said, like the moment that we give them accountability and give them what they do need, is the moment that they quit coming to our office and asking for what they need to do. Yeah. Because they don't want to get
accountability's messy.
Yeah.
And it goes both ways as to whether you're a leader or just a mentor in somebody's life. I mean, essentially, if somebody comes to you and says, "Hey, I want you to keep me accountable," right? It's kind of a messy job, and it takes some effort on the accountee, I guess. Sure. I don't know how that plays into, but being a part of their life and not afraid to ask those tough questions. Because I wish when I was 15, 16, 17, 30 that I had, a few guys in my life that would ask those tough questions. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Not so much like, "Hey, did you read your Bible this week?" Right. But like, "Hey, what have you been thinking about? How's your thought life?" Yeah.
And I think what is so easy to get into is teenagers say they grab an accountability partner. That's a phrase that people hear a lot of times. It's, "Hey, you got an accountability partner?" And yeah, sure. And they'll go one-on-one and, like you said, ask these really easy questions like, "Hey, are you reading your Bible?" Yeah. And you never hear the phrase, "Hey, what's God teaching you in the Word?"
Yeah. That's such a...
And like there's such a... To me, that's a question of, hey, we're doing this because we have to and our youth pastor told us to get a partner. And what's God teaching the Word saying, no, like, I really want to get better and I really want to grow and I really want to stretch you as a brother in Christ as well.
Because it's a sign of maturity. Yeah. If you're willing to put yourself out there, even though there may be moments or seasons where you screw up, and you're willing to say, "Okay, I'm okay with you calling out my screw ups." Yeah. I feel like that's a sign of maturity. Even if you continue to mess up, but in your mind you're striving to get better. You're striving to grow closer to Christ. Essentially, that's what we're trying to do here. So
I think that maturity is what we want to see in a student. Yeah. And when a student comes to me and says, "Hey, there's this person that I want to pursue or I want to date," I think the first thing that I want to look at and look at their life and say, are they showing signs of maturity? I'm not saying they got to be perfect, but I'm saying are they willing to do that? Are they willing to take the steps to mature? But I want to ask you a question because you have a little bit more experience, and you're a little bit older than me in student ministry, but
Not that
and you've
old.
well, no, I know, but you've got 6 years and I've got a year and a half. So, but what I say that is not that I couldn't get the answer, but I know that you've had this conversation before.
Yeah.
With parents.
Yeah.
So, not only do we need to mature, and our goal as student pastors is to get our students to that place of maturity and accountability. But what would you say if a parent came to you as that student's student pastor and said, "Hey, my son or my daughter's come to me, and they came home yesterday and told me that they're got a girlfriend and they're dating now and they want to go out on a date. He wants to take her to the movies or go to dinner." And that parent is concerned, and they come to you as their student pastor and say, "Hey, Dave, what would be your advice for me as a parent in this situation?"
As to whether or not they're ready to date?
Yeah.
I would say they're not ready. I mean, because I look back at my life, and I was not in any place to date. But I normally kind of look at it this way: when you propose a question, or if you evaluate your son or your daughter if they're ready to date, and I would say this to our students, I'm pretty sure I did, but I would essentially propose the question: when you evaluate yourself, the person that you're dating or hanging out with or making out with, rather, are you drawing them closer to Jesus in that relationship, or are you drawing them closer to you?
Yeah.
Essentially, are they falling more in love based on hanging out with you, dating you? Are they falling more in love with Jesus, or are they falling more in love with you?
Right.
And most of the time, it's not the good side,
Yeah.
And it's kind of like dating, just kind of, especially at this age, when you're not ready, things could happen, or things could go down where it affects you your entire life.
Yeah.
Because there's decisions that I made that, when I was a teenager, that are still affecting me. And just the way that I had to pursue Samantha, my wife, there's some things I had to work out because of some past relationships.
Right.
And so, and it's kind of like this: if say you're going to a grocery store, you go to a grocery store, obviously you're wanting to buy something, and you forget your wallet, you forget your money, your purse, whatever it may be, and so you're unprepared to get whatever it is,
to get the groceries,
to get your item, and so you end up just taking it, something that's not yours. And I feel like that could be in the same concept of dating. A lot of times we are not prepared to date. Teenagers are not prepared to date, but they end up taking something that wasn't rightfully theirs. Think about it. And so I feel like that affects that. And so, because dating is, you are trying to pursue or figure out who you're going to marry.
Yeah.
And at 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, how much longer you want to go?
Sure.
If you are not dating that person to potentially marry them, you're just wasting your time. And I think it goes back to what you're talking about, the importance of hanging out with the guys and hanging out with the girls, just in these healthy relationships. And, and I'm a big proponent of, a big, fan of, if you're going to date in groups. There is no way, because I know that one-on-one dates are just, and just...
#fail moments. Every time.
It's not, I don't care.
Every time.
Yeah, you can have your King James Bible on the coffee table. You're still going to make out with this girl if the lights are off. So
I'm going to put my elbow on that Bible.
I don't care. You got your mission trip t-shirt on while you're doing it.
You're going to have to burn that one later.
Yeah. So I would say to that parent, a simple question I would ask them again: Are you drawing this person closer to you, or are you drawing this person closer to Jesus? And most of the time it's drawing closer to them. So obviously, in my mind, they are not ready to date. And so that's why I told our students a few weeks ago when we started this whole thing that, it was hard for me to say, without trying to be the parent, without trying to be the legalistic voice, But essentially I told them, you guys aren't ready to date. Based on what I see, kind of the fruit that's coming out of your life, or lack of, I just feel like you're not ready. Yeah. And I'm not saying you can get things in order to get ready, but at this point in your life, dating is just, and it's hard because people are going to do it. Regardless if we held a gun to their head and says, you better not date anybody, there's a good chance they're still going to date. It's like, but she's pretty hot.
Right.
And so it's like, we have to kind of tread lightly on, don't do this, don't do that, instead of like, hey, here's truth.
Sure.
Because that's essentially our job, is to present truth.
Well, and like you said, we know they're going to do it.
Yeah. We did it.
We did it. Right. And I don't want to, like I said, I don't want to put a no on someone's face and make them feel like if they do this, as your student pastor, I'm going to not like you as a student. But it's a matter of, whenever I lay my head down at night on a Sunday night, or you on a Wednesday night, can I go to sleep with a conscience that said I gave them truth and I left them with the decision to be made?
Yeah.
And even at that, if a student is willing to go through that steps of maturity, steps of accountability before and through that relationship, I'm not saying that it can't be done well, but I think it would probably land in about the same ballpark as the same statistic as we asked our leaders the other day. And we asked our leaders, out of 60 leaders, 70 leaders?
60, 70 leaders.
How many of them dated in high school and ended up marrying that high school sweetheart that they dated through high school?
It was like 2?
2 of them raised their hands.
So, I mean, if you're dating if you're in high school right now and you're dating somebody, you ain't going to marry them.
Yeah.
I mean, there's...
it's going to be in the same ballpark as someone that I could honestly say as a student pastor to look at, and as we invest in students, that would probably land about the same ballpark as students who date correctly. It's about probably that same percentage.
Yeah. So. Yeah.
So
tough topic. And we're still talking about it.
Yeah.
And this is probably the longest episode we've had so far because we just know that 2 weeks turned into 4 weeks as far as with our students. And so, hey, thanks for tuning in. Just a few things like, hey, we want you to share this info with other people. We want to be a resource to other churches. And so you can, and one thing that's cool is if you want to email us questions or just say, hey, we like you guys, or hey, why don't y'all talk about this? You know, I see this in our student ministry, or how can we help in any way? You can email us at the link at the bottom, and you can email us questions or encouragement, whatever it may be. So, you got anything else?
Nope. I want to know what you guys want to hear about.
Yeah.
Like Dave said.
Make us better.
So, keep watching us. And like you said, like it, follow it, share it, and hopefully we can put this idea and these conversations in the hands of a lot of people. So
yeah, just want to be a resource. Hey, we love you. We'll see you next time.